My name is Jan, and I just want my life back. Yeah? Which one?
We are our choices. It may be a cliche, but it's true. Our choices define us. Where we go, what we do, who we meet, how we handle our problems, and why we are, ultimately, who we are. Imagine all the key decisions of your life laid out before you. How many would have to change to turn you into a different person? 2? 3? Or just one, in the right place, at the right time? What choice would that be for you? And who would you have become if you'd chosen differently? Those are the questions at the core of The Alters, a narrative survival game from 11-Bit Studios, the team behind this war of mine. In The Alters, you take on the role of Jan Dolsky, a simple worker on a space mining mission gone horribly wrong. Stranded and alone on a strange planet after his ship crashes, Jan must figure out a way home, but he can't do it by himself. He'll need the help of Alters, alternative versions of himself, who made different choices in life and have the skills and expertise Jan needs. But Alters aren't just another body and set of skills. They're entirely different people with unique perspectives, hopes, dreams, traumas, and ambitions. To get home, Jan will not only need to get along with his Alters, but make some hard choices too, and come to terms with some of the choices he made in the past. To better understand the Alters and how this unique setup affects the many branching story paths you'll encounter as you play, we sat down with the Alters game director and lead designer, who were kind enough to answer some of our most burning story-related questions.
Jan, the main character of our game, he's got many regrets in his life, and he tends to ask himself this question, like, what if? What if I've made some different choices in the past? Where would I be right now?
Or was there ever another way?
So he's using this space mining mission that he's on as a chance to put his life on a different track. But unfortunately, the things went south and he ended up all alone on this distant, desolate planet.
Dolsky here. Do you read me? Anyone?
Where, in order to survive and go back home, he needs to face even more tough choices, including the creation of the Alters. When we were creating the life path of Jan and designing different decisions that shaped him into who he is in the game, we really wanted this to feel relatable. So we were gathering our own experiences internally in the team, asking ourselves, like, what is your what if question? What is the thing maybe you regret in your life? And they can come from different places. They can be career related or maybe relationship related. Things like, what if I didn't leave my hometown? Or what if I fought harder to save this relationship I had? Things like that.
So this is what the branching is about?
At the end, we really want for every player to find something relatable to them. At least one of the choices that Jan had in his past, I hope will be something the players can relate to.
In order to get along with the Alters well, we'll have to understand the emotions that they have and what people they are become because of their life decisions. And the emotions are handled by a pretty sophisticated emotional system that is more complex than just, they are feeling good or bad and a single bar. And because of that, we can have emotions like frustration, rebellion, maybe amused by something, or maybe stressed by something, or saddened by something. And all those different emotions allows us to create different alter who acts differently in different situations, because then those emotions translate to the things they do.
Tell me what's going on. What have you done to my body?
They may rebel against the player, or may help the player somehow, or maybe boost the morale of the crew, or on the other hand, they may be so sad that they don't want to work anymore for the mission.
Oh no, thanks, man. I've had my share of surprises.
We are bringing new alters to the base in order to solve the problems that Jan, the main Jan, wouldn't be able to solve on his own. So, for example, we can bring the scientist, Jan, who will be able to conduct research and create a technology that will allow us to move our base, run away from the sun, and he solves our problem. But at the same time, we are bringing a new person to the crew with entirely new personality. Jan scientist is very career-driven, ambitious alter. Soon he might start undermining our decisions as a leader. So while solving one problem, we are creating new ones. And in order to effectively manage our crew and find solutions for everything, we have to really understand who they are, what is their personality, what affects them, and successfully manage them.
Why don't you start with going through the mission logs? I need to get the full picture first. My thoughts exactly.
Also, there's a lot of things going on the emergent storytelling level, so if they are in a bad shape, they may start some narrative bits that will create a different gameplay experience. But let's not forget about the fact that the alters are in a good shape and they are happy and highly motivated. They will, on the other hand, help the player. They will help him achieving his goals. It will be easier for them to fix their problems, but they can also help the other alters with fixing their problems and dealing with their past and decisions. Base management is very important for many aspects of the game. First, it influences the economy part, of course. This is pretty obvious, but also has to be maintained. If you don't maintain your base well, it will deteriorate. There will be accidents. Those accidents will create emergent stories and will influence the general alter storylines or the main story. Finally, the bigger the base is, the more Rapidium you can bring back home, and this is very important for Jan, for the people back on Earth. So this is another way you can influence the narrative.
We want to spend time with our alters. We need to invest the time in our relationship, because only then we will be able to uncover their stories, understand them fully, and with this crew that we understand, that we know how to manage, we will be able to succeed in the mission.
Just don't push yourself. You don't need to prove anything.
Time is a very important resource in our game. Everything we do requires some time, whether it's excavating the resources or crafting stuff or conducting a research. All of the tasks require us some time, and that's why we need alters on board, because Jan, he won't be able to make everything on time. He's being chased by a giant rising star, so he's got this ticking clock behind his back. But at the same time, we don't want to rush things too much. From the very beginning, we wanted to tell the story of Jan in a classic manner, but also create a game that is more open-ended and allows players more freedom in creating their own stories. So the narrative structure in our game consists of different layers. On top, we have this more classic narrative structure, which is a branching story of Jan landing on the planet and finding his way home. And it is a branching story with multiple different endings, but underneath there is this second layer of the alter storylines. And it's up to the players what alters they create. It's not possible to have all the alters in a single playthrough, so when you replay the game, you will be able to create different alters and also within their storylines make different choices to shape their story in your own way. And underneath all of this, we have this giant layer of the emergent narrative that comes from the decisions you make, economical decisions, strategic decisions, the way you handle your base, the way you treat your alters. It all affects them and can result in some unexpected outcomes, different reactions, different events, different mini scenarios that can happen. In the end, we hope it all adds up to this, unique experience of each player having their own unique playthrough.
How did they get it, and what for?
And there's also the topic of emergent gameplay. This is also something that showed up in our games for the first time in This War of Mine. In the Altars, we do the same thing. We use a lot of emergent narration, but in this game we also connect this with more classic approach to the narration, where we have a single storyline that is branching, and we enforce this storyline with those emergent systems that make this story richer. There are a couple of mechanics in game that I am proud of, but they're not easily visible at the first glance. One of them would surely be the emotional mechanic that is pretty complicated. It consists of many different variables, and we don't show them as values or numbers, but more like adjectives that are floating around the altars, and that they have different size. And those variables, they connect into even more sophisticated emotions. And all of this makes it very hard for our more analytical brain to process, but it's quite easy if you try to use your empathy part of the brain to process that. So the idea behind making this so complicated is not only to create different personalities for the altars that are very nuanced, but also to make the player use this proper part of the brain when they're trying to cope with altars.
Doesn't feel that simple. Don't worry about it too much. No. I'll try.
The other thing would be the way we use the exploration. Of course, it is a tool to get gameplay loop. You are going to the exploration, looking for the resources, going back to base and facing the problems with the altars and so on and so forth. But it is quite important that we also wanted to use this exploration part to create a special environment for the player to actually think about all those decisions that the altars made, and ultimately maybe create a space for them to think about their own decisions.
We can't wait for the players to meet the altars, learn their different stories, and in the end, understand what made them who they are. And in the end, we just hope that everyone will find something, learn something about themselves through the altars.
We are who we choose to be. In the altars, Jan Dolski's past is set. At least, your version of Jan is. But your altars are an ocean of untapped potential, and the future you can build with them is up to you. The altars looks like it's asking Jan and his altars the most important question of all. Who are you? And if 11-bit studios can deliver, the answer to that question is shaping up to be very, very interesting. Stay tuned all month long as our IGN First coverage of the altars continues. And for everything else in gaming, keep it here at IGN.